Hello and Happy New Year! I'm really excited to welcome you to the first and hopefully not last episode of The Main Event, a model horse podcast for hobbyists both in the UK and internationally. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate all of your support and engagement. In today's premiere episode, I'll be talking through all sorts of model horse news, new models, a feature artist, show reports and more. And later I'll be joined by @Applemead-Breyers, our first guest. Next to me I have Lafayette, who is this episode's feature model. Now it's time to rein it in. The news section of the show is called Rein It In, and with a new year comes new news. Breyer have just released the first special run for BreyerFest 2022 and he's gorgeous. He's a dapple rose grey on the Titillus mould called Lender. He's based on a traditional German folk dance which was popular in southern Germany in the 18th century and is still danced today. He'll be available for VIP and all-access in-person tickets only. I'm only briefly going to touch on the virtual lack of special runs as it's a really hotly debated topic at the moment, but my personal feeling is that special runs are a big part of BreyerFest. Just as I'd finished writing my notes for this podcast, Breyer released the first limited edition model for BreyerFest 2022, Montanaro. He's a Black Forest horse on the Frisian mould, and my initial thoughts were that he was a bit meh, but the more I look at him, the more I like him, and I really hope that he looks like that in person. As a limited edition, he'll be available for both in-person and virtual attendees, and I'm tempted to get a ticket because of him. Sign-ups for the Premier Club for 2022 have closed, which means we'll start getting some more sneak peeks of the second release in the Premier Club. The first release was revealed a little while ago, and if you missed it, she's Zafira, the show Arabian by Bridget Ebel. Personally, I think this model will be absolutely stunning in person, but that photos just don't really do her any justice. So in addition to Zafira, we've also had a few sneak peeks at the second release. This model looks really interesting, and I'm really excited to see him in full and see what colour he'll be. I'll keep you as updated as I can as more reveals of this model occur. And in addition to this, there's more. The Premier Club stablemate has also been revealed. He's a mini George sculpt, another by Bridget Ebel, who was originally part of the Premier Club as a traditional sculpt in 2019. We don't know the colour yet, but as soon as it's released, I'll definitely have something to say. The photo released on Breyer's website, I think, is taken at an awkward angle so that it makes the proportions of the stablemate look a bit strange, and I'm just hoping that this is just the angle of the photo taken and that he's actually a much better proportioned than he looks in those photos. Breyer's 2022 regular run line has been released and it holds some really exciting models. So the Ideal series continues with the Palomino. The Welsh pony Mare and Foal set is out in its first regular run in a sweet black colour. Misty makes a new appearance in foal form this time with her Dam Phantom, and the two that I'm most excited about are the regular run appearances of the Akelteke stallion Adamek and the Morgan horse Morgan Quest Native Son. I'm actually really delighted with the 2022 lineup and will be absolutely broke after this set of models. The 2022 Christmas model has also been revealed and is named Snowbird. I'm pleased that Breyer are using the Morgan mould for him, and his costume looks really smart. I know for those who conquer this mould it's slightly annoying to have so many released all at once, but I really do like Snowbird. I would quite like to have a Christmas horse in a colour other than grey though, because it's been quite a while since we've had any, and I think it might be time for maybe a decorator Christmas horse. The Halloween horse has also been released, and though I don't usually get them, I might have to get this one. We'll have to see how UK model horse stockists are doing with shipping this year and whether we'll actually be able to receive a shipment of these gorgeous ponies anytime soon. The 2022 flagship model has also been released and is a Silver Bay on the Dundee mould. Personally, I would really like some flagship models to be shipped to the UK for distribution at retailers, as that could include loads more of us UK and international collectors and allow us to get really easy access to this beautiful model. I also definitely have to talk about these swirl stablemates because they are so cool. I don't really conquer any of the moulds, but I love their colours, and I feel like Breyer have taken inspiration from many artists, with quite a few I know having done tie-dye designs, and I got one myself, a little custom tie-dye model, and I think she's beautiful. I'm really excited for the variations on this set, and I really can't wait to see how different each model is going to be. I'm just going to finish this Rein section with a little bit about Breyer shipping to the UK. So UK hobbyists have increasing agitation over Breyer shipping of models and lack of communication from the company themselves recently. Honestly, international shipping has been a complete mess, with loads of parcels ending up in the wrong country, no tracking provided, and incorrect orders being shipped. It's also really difficult for international customers to get hold of Breyer's customer service, as we have to pay a lot of money for an international phone call. So if anyone has any tips on how to get hold of Breyer's customer service, please share them with us so that hobbyists all over the UK can have less stress over their parcels from Breyer. That concludes this episode's Rein It In. If you have any model horse news, please get in contact with me at Amber's Corner Stables on Instagram to let me know what you'd like me to report or discuss. Welcome to Spur of the Moment, the section in which I introduce you to my Spur of the Moment buys and new models. I've recently received an order from Triple Mountain that included 4 ponies: Starlight, Omega, a classic rearing stallion, and the WEG Johar from 2014. So I'll start with possibly one of my favourite models ever. Starlight is the 2020 Vintage Club Arapalusa with only 500 made. I bought her during Breyerfest weekend last year and she's absolutely stunning. Photos of her will be on my collection account, but they really don't do this girl any justice. Her shading is just beautiful and Breyer really outdid themselves with her. Omega is the 2021 regular run release on the Shaggy Arabian mould and he came nib in this order. I bought from the USA as I was really nervous that UK retailers may not get them anytime soon due to shipping delays, and I really didn't want to wait with this one. He takes my conga up to 6 and I definitely ISO glossy integrity. I also got the 1965 to 1980 classic bay fighting stallion. He's only body quality, but he was on the website for ages and I eventually caved and added him to my order. He's actually really cute in person. I'm really glad I decided to get him. The final pony I got in this order is the WEG Classic Chestnut Johar from 2014. 500 of her were made and I'm really pleased that I had the opportunity to get her. She's got a little box rub on her hip, but she's still really cute, and she's the 8th edition on my conga, which was rather accidental. I've now put myself on a pony buying ban until I have some commissions paid off, but feel free to send me photos of your most recent purchases. I would absolutely love to see the ponies that you're excited about. This next section is Centaur of Attention, where I review a particular model in my collection. Earlier I talked about having Lafayette, or Polished Coal as my model is called, sat next to me. I don't even know where to start describing this model. He's really something special. I managed to get mine second-hand back in June 2021, so I avoided all the backorder hassle that I know so many hobbyists had to go through with this one. Lafayette is a Collector Club web special from 2021 on the Racking Saddlebred Stallion mould. He's a glossy grey-black, and mine has some really subtle dappling. I've heard that a few don't have any dappling and some have loads, and I think mine's somewhere in between. I'm a really big fan of this mould, and unfortunately I only have one. I think the movement is really beautiful and has a really nicely realistic flair. I really don't have many bad things to say about this model. I love his shading and his little star, and I think he's a lovely example of an American saddlebred. My only negative thought about him is that his eyes don't seem to be entirely looking in the same direction, but this is hardly noticeable. I only saw it on closer inspection the other day when I had him out. Which model should I review next? Send me a message at Amber's Corner Stables on Instagram. For this episode's Neigh-bours section, we have at Applemead Breyers on Instagram. Hello, it's so lovely to actually meet you. Could you please tell me a little bit about what your collection's about?
Yeah, so my collection's mainly OF Breyer, so I have both traditionals and stablemates. I'm mainly a traditional collector, but the stablemates kind of got me last year and they've been multiplying since. A few customs, but I would say on the whole my collection's mainly OF Breyer traditionals.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I started getting into them again sort of 2019. I'd been collecting as kind of a teenager. And then life got in the way. And back in 2019, I just happened to click on Breyer's website and see all the amazing moulds and models that had come out in the time that I'd not been collecting. So I ordered a couple and then I was hooked, and ever since I've just been growing my collection.
Do you have any like particular congas that you collect, or any types of models?
Yeah, so I've kind of got into two main congas at the moment. So I'm currently collecting the Shenandoah mould and the Shire gelding, mainly because I really love draft horses. And I think the Shenandoah mould just has a really nice, kind face. There's something about it that I was just attracted to. So I've been actively conquering him. And then sort of starting this year, I began a Duende conqueror as well, just because I really like Spanish horses. And again, I think he's got like a really nice, kind face. There's something about the sculpt that I just love. So again, I've been working on a Duende conga this year as well.
Lovely.
Well, last year, actually. It's 2022, I haven't realised.
Yeah, I've only just got my first two models. I got them both for Christmas on that mould. I got Arctic and Dominante.
Oh yeah, they're both lovely, aren't they?
The shading on both of them is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I think hidden under the costume, Arctic Grandeur shading is gorgeous. Once he's out of costume, you can really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't taken his costume off yet, but I might do soon.
It's not too bad. It's all one piece, so once you've got it off, you can just slide it over the head, and it's easy to put back on. So don't worry too much if you want to take it off.
I always get so nervous when taking Christmas model costumes off, because it's just I can never get them back on, and then it's all a whole mess.
Yeah, there's definitely like a knack to it. I feel like I have to do it a few times in a row to like make sure I can definitely get it on and off before I'm confident to like leave it off for a whole year. But my Christmas horse, I usually like redecorate them on like the 1st of December every year and then take it off at the end of Christmas. So I've kind of got the knack of it now.
Are there any other models that look really good in kind of the Christmas wear that aren't actually Christmas models?
Yeah, so I tried Theo, the regular run Georg, and I put him in Yuletide Greetings tack this year because, again, he's kind of like a draft Ardennes, and I was just interested to see what he'd look like, and I thought he looked really, really cool in it, actually, really sweet. So he really suits that tack. I haven't really tried it with any of the others, actually, with any of the other types of tack, but definitely he looks really good in it.
I just want to say, though, your Instagram is absolutely beautiful, and you have so many realistic photos and performance work. So what's your favourite part of performance photography and setups and things?
Oh, I think for me, I really like recreating things in miniature. So for me, I tend to like bringing to life real horse situations, and a lot of it's drawn off sort of riding lessons I've had or events I've seen and been to. I don't really plan the performance type setups for my account too much. I tend to just walk into my hobby room, pick up a model and try and create something based on its pose or its posture. So I don't really plan or think too much, but I just like bringing the details to life, choosing sort of what saddle pad's going to match that colour horse, looking at what jumps I can set up that will look good. And I also try and bring sometimes a bit of a theme to a month's post. So, for example, over Halloween, I might do some Halloween theme posts, or Christmas. A lot of it, I had some Christmas props in. So I kind of draw it a bit off real life and then a bit of sort of spur of the moment as well. It's just nice to be able to use your imagination and kind of bring to life real horse type scenarios in sort of a model form.
Do you make any of the tack or props that you use?
Yeah, so I got into tack making probably early 2020. I decided I really wanted to bring sort of more performance type style posts to my Instagram, and I just enjoyed that kind of side of the hobby. So I started trying to make my own tack. The first couple of pieces, I look back now and they are pretty horrendous, but you have to start somewhere. So I've now moved on and just been practicing. So most of the saddles are made by myself, and then pretty much a lot of the props I'll make myself too. And I think it's just nice to use your own tack as well and use that in your photos. And it's amazing just to see how far I've come, I think, since 2020. Definitely one of my favourite areas of the hobby anyway. So tack making kind of goes alongside all the performance stuff that I've been doing.
That's so cool. I've seen a lot of the tack on, and I thought they were really professionally made. They look really good.
Oh, thank you. I haven't had a chance to kind of do any live showing with it yet, so I have no idea whether it's good enough for live showing, but I tend to focus it for photography, and I think it looks okay in that. So that's kind of what I aim for with it.
I'm going to ask, do you have a favourite model?
Oh, that's a really hard one. I think depends a little bit on the day. Sometimes I'll go in and out with models, but I think on the whole, my most consistent model that I probably consider my favourite is actually Benelli from 2020 Briar Fest, the Shenandoah. I say Shenandoah's my favourite mould, but I just love the pattern and colour on him, and I just think he's such a nice model. I know he's not kind of the rarest or like the most expensive model in my collection, but there's just something about him. Every time I pick him off the shelf, I'm just so happy with him. So I'd probably say he's my absolute favourite in the collection.
I've just managed to get myself a Vahana, and just beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's lovely. I've got him as well. He's probably another one of the really nice Shenandoahs. So yeah, he's gorgeous.
How many do you have in your conga now?
So I'm currently up to 6 with the Shenandoah conga, and then the Duende conga's only at 4 at the moment. But I'm hoping eventually to track down the original Shenandoah, either braided or loose mane, because I don't actually have him in either version. But I know they're pretty kind of rare to come across and quite expensive. So I'm hoping one of those will pop up at some point and I'll get him.
Do you have any hobby goals for 2022?
Yeah, so 2022, I've had a little think, and I think I'd be looking to expand my tack making. So I want to branch out into some new styles of tack. So I'd love to do maybe some endurance type saddles and bridles. I'm thinking probably for Altenai or that kind of molds. I'd like to do a Western saddle with some new plates on there, because I've done a basic Western saddle, but I haven't done anything too fancy with it. So kind of branching out into different areas of tack making would be sort of one goal. And then I'd like to dabble in customizing as well. I've dabbled a few times, and I think I've always ended up really frustrated with my work. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so if it doesn't look exactly how I want it to look, I do tend to just put it back down and forget about it. So this year, I'm going to try and be more patient with myself and more patient with like the customizing process, I think, and have a go. Maybe start with some stable mates because they're a little less challenging, and see where we go from there.
I'm really excited to see your progress on that. If you can send me any photos you do of any customs, I'd be really delighted.
Yeah, I'd love to. As I say, I'm planning on doing Neigh-bours as well in February, so that'll be kind of the first getting back into it, I think, and hopefully give me some motivation.
Going back to what you said earlier about you haven't had the chance to live show, I was going to ask you, do you show at all? Like, do you just do kind of in-hand showing?
Yeah, so I do photo showing at the moment. So again, kind of 2020 lockdowns and things, I got into photo showing. So mainly been doing that at the moment, and just it's a really nice opportunity to kind of get my models out, appreciate them, and also appreciate other people's models. There's so many gorgeous models people have out there. It's nice to see them when you're photo showing. But I would really like to get out live showing. It's just been the current world situation and things has meant that I haven't been able to yet. But hopefully, if things improve, I'd love to get out to sort of a live show and start probably with some kind of halter classes, and maybe eventually get brave enough to go and do some performance.
That would be so cool. And it'd be really nice to meet you at shows as well. I love live showing. I've not been to, well, obviously any at all for the past few years, but yeah, it'd be really, really cool to like properly meet up at shows and see all your photos.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. I'd love to meet people in real life as well, because obviously I think we see kind of people on Instagram all the time and chat that way, but you don't really like meet the people unless you go to the live shows. So yeah, I'd love to get out to one, and fingers crossed it won't be too long before they start up again.
Yeah, I hope so. I know there were a few months ago, I think it was around November time, there were a few little live shows, but obviously none have really happened since. And I'm keeping an eye on Facebook pages and things, hoping that something will start up soon.
Fingers crossed. I'm hoping kind of late spring, summer, we might start to see some, hopefully, as things calm down a little bit. But I guess it just depends with what happens in the world, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any grails that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned one already, which is Shenandoah. I am really hoping to get Uffington as well from 2021 Briar Fest. He was actually my favourite of the special runs, but luck wasn't with me and I didn't get picked for him. So I'm really hoping to find an Uffington at some point this year, and that's kind of another little mini hobby goal. I would love an Alborozo one day as well. I know that's kind of a typical grail that a lot of people have. But I just haven't bought myself to buy one yet.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little while before I can get myself one of those.
Yeah, I keep seeing a few popping up, but I just can't bring myself to pay the price for him. I know it's probably not going to change much, but maybe one day I'll feel brave enough to go through with it.
Maybe one day I won't be a student and
Yeah,
have an income.
that is it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're a student, it's not exactly the most affordable of models.
Exactly. I can see you have a hobby room. So do you have a whole room for your model horses?
Yes, that's a recent development. So essentially, this used to be split between my boyfriend's model railway, so he has that kind of side of things for hobby, and my horses. But he's recently built a cabin outside for his own hobby, and so I've taken over the room and now got my own hobby room, which is really, really nice. It's where I can keep all my dioramas for doing photography. I've got a light box in here, and then I've got all the horses in here as well. So it just means it's really nice and straightforward for doing all my hobby stuff, and it's quite a nice relaxing space to come to as well.
I'm currently just working out in my bedroom and the study, hoping that I can eventually get some more space to put some ponies. But it's really nice that your boyfriend also has a similar hobby. So does he support your hobby?
Oh yeah, he does joke about the number of models that I have, because I think the model train side of things, it's not so much the buying the trains, it's making the layouts and stuff. But he's definitely really supportive. He's been really helpful with making kind of the dioramas, and then all like the setups I have, so the barn, the arena, he's all helped me make those. So he's really supportive, which does make a big difference as well.
I know I wish mine was a bit more supportive. He allows it, I think. He thinks it's a bit
yeah, he does
strange,
joke every time I get like a parcel that, oh gosh, not another one, where are you going to put that? So yeah, he's kind of overwhelmed, I think, sometimes by the number of models and the fact that it's collecting more of them, but he's supportive on the whole.
That's completely fair. Are you thinking about attending Breyer this year?
Yeah, so I want to do the online Breyer. I really like the celebration model, so even if I'm not too keen on kind of like any of the limited editions, I think I'm just going to go and do it for the sake of the celebration model. And I also think I'll just enjoy watching all the things going on at the Kentucky Horse Park, and hopefully there'll be some workshops or demos and things to watch as well. So I'm planning on doing it. Hopefully I'll like some of the limited editions as well and pick some of those up. But yeah, I like online Breyer. I've enjoyed it the last 2 years, so I'll probably just do it again.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same, especially after seeing the first limited edition model that was released yesterday. Have you seen him yet?
Yeah, he's on kind of like the vintage Friesian mold, isn't he? He's a Black Forest horse. He does look really nice, actually. I like his colour, and I think it looks really nice on the mould. So yeah, I was thinking about him. I'm not 100% sold on him yet, but he is quite nice, so I probably will get him.
Probably will as well. I wasn't going to, and then the more I looked at his photo, the more I really liked him and his shading, and just hoping that every model was going to look like that.
Yeah, his shading's lovely, isn't it? I think I have one on the mould already, Fire Magic, who was like a Breyerfest, I think 2002 celebration horse, and he's kind of a sentimental model. I've had him since my teenage collection, so maybe the nostalgia will get me a bit as well.
That would be really cool. Do you just have the one on that Congo now? That mold? Yeah,
just one at the moment. He's quite beat up because he's seen definitely a lot of action when I was using them more as kind of toys as a sort of early teen. So he's quite beat up, but he's there just for, as I say, kind of sentimental value.
Do you have any other models that are sentimental?
Yeah, so my very first traditional model is still with me. So I got Red Rum, who was like a UK limited edition in sort of, I think he came out in like 2006. That was kind of the time I was getting into Breyer. And I remember going to the tack shop to actually buy him. So this was back in the day when you could actually buy Breyers in like UK tack shops, which I don't really see them now. So we went into the tack shop, and I remember picking him off the shelf and begging my mum for him for my birthday. So he's still with me. He's again very beat up and very much kind of body quality, but he's not going anywhere.
Oh. I also have a Red Rum who is in much the same condition. Lovely. Do you have any kind of other things that you'd like to talk about within the hobby?
I think the hobby is amazing. I just want to say, the community is so fantastic. I've been really enjoyed being back in the model horse hobby over the last couple of years, and just meeting people, getting to chat about horses, model horses, It's just been a fantastic place for me. And I think especially with things having not been the easiest couple of years, it's been really nice to have model horses to kind of fall back on, be a bit of a distraction, and just to meet new people. So I'm really grateful to be part of the hobby. I think that's kind of my main message, and I just love chatting about model horses. So thank you very much for having me on today.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, especially as you're my first guest. And
thank you.
Yeah,
I had a great time. I love chatting model horses. I could go on about them for hours. So
well, I definitely love to have you back. You've been such a great guest, and it's been really
you're welcome. Oh, fantastic. Well, anytime, I'm more than happy to pop on or chat about any model horse development. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
A huge thank you to Applemead Breyers, my first guest on the main event. If you'd like to be a guest and have a chat about your hobby and your hobby goals and your collection, drop me a DM at Amber's Corner Stables on Instagram. In future episodes, I hope to have reports from live and photo shows in the UK and internationally in a section called Ro-sette Your Standards. Please send in your show experiences, how you did, and tell us all about the event. I've just finished the first year of Willow Model Horse Photo Show on Facebook, which was a challenge for me as a host, but one that I really enjoyed. We've just concluded the year championship and results will be released very soon for those who are involved. I'm going to be taking a break from show hosting now to focus on some exams, but I hope to be back to it in the summer and the near future. The final section of this episode is called Maybe They're Barn With It. We'll be exploring artists within the hobby, both up-and-coming and well-established. In this episode, I've interviewed an artist who has just released her first original sculpt as a 3D print resin in 3 variations: Arcus, Equino and Arbor. Sunny Equine Art on Instagram painted her first model a year or 2 before she fully got into painting, but wasn't aware at the time that painting model horses was a thing, as she described. A few years after painting that first model with a friend, she watched some YouTube videos and decided to try it again. She has now been painting for 4 years and has become very successful at it. She has a few of her own pieces in her collection, but tends to sell most, so keep an eye out for any ponies that might be able to canter their way into your collection. She also takes commissions, but her books are currently full with a waitlist open. I myself have commissions with her and own a previous commission from her. I'm really excited to get them back and see them in person. Her favourite colour to paint is bay, and she enjoys painting fantasy colours as well as animals other than horses. For her Namo Pemo, she's hoping to enter with her hippocampus sculpture, which is a gorgeous horse-fish type creature. I've been watching the progress of this sculpture and it looks really exciting. As I said previously, Sunny Equine Art has just released her first original sculpt in the form of Arcus, Equino and Arbor. The latter 2 are micro-scale polished cold-blood stallions. Arbor has a roached mane and a bob tail, whereas Equino has a semi-longer mane and tail than his brother. Arcus is a repositioned variation and is available in stablemate and classic scale. She plans to paint a few artist-proof copies of Arcus in microform, which will be the only micro copies available to purchase, so definitely keep an eye out. I know I will be. As for her future plans, she says she has a full folder of references and ideas. She'd like to do a more water dragon / water dinosaur version of her hippocampus, and also plans to sculpt a Przewalski horse and a medallion too. So that's plenty of things to keep her busy and me very broke. She says that most of her sculpts will be drafts or ponies, as these are her favourite types of horse. Sunny says that her collection has changed a lot since she started collecting and currently collects OF minis, resins and customs with the occasional OF traditional. She says that she drifts to new releases on vintage moulds, which is something we very much have in common. She's also trying to conquer the Rein mould and aims to conquer Astrid. She particularly enjoys painting minis and micros and wants to slightly resculpt stablemates to give them a unique flair and more detailing. Please do go and check out Sunny Equine Art on Instagram, as this artist truly is so talented and works hard to produce absolutely stunning work. I'm so excited for the pieces she's doing for me. As the first episode of the main event comes to a close, I'd just like to thank all my affiliates for sending in news, show reports, artist nominations and more. I couldn't do this without you. The affiliates are, for this episode, Breyer Sport, Sunny Equine Art, Samantha Customs, Applemead Breyers, and also I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Applemead Breyers for coming onto the show and having a really good chat with me about all things horsey. Music credit goes to Bensound. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of the main event, and I hope that you'll join me next time for some more model horse chat. Please remember to send me all sorts of things that you want me to chat about. Thank you so much for listening and have a lovely new year.